Most people who show any interest in Earth's natural history know, at least superficially, the famous event that led to the extinction of the dinosaurs. This cataclysm, which occurred around 66 million years ago, involved the impact of a gigantic asteroid with the Earth's surface. It is estimated that the celestial body measured between 10 and 15 kilometers in diameter and traveled at a speed of tens of kilometers per second. Upon reaching the region that we now know as the Yucatan Peninsula, in Mexico, the energy released was equivalent to several million nuclear bombs. Although this narrative is widely known, the real understanding of what happened is much more complex than simply imagining an impact that exterminated all dinosaurs instantly. It was not an isolated event that resulted in his immediate annihilation. The truth is that the impact was just the trigger in a chain of catastrophic environmental reactions that forever changed the course of life on Earth. The extinction process was progressive and affected different regions and organisms unevenly. Before the arrival of the asteroid, dinosaurs dominated all continents. Species of scavengers and herbivores ranged from tropical forests to desert regions, and their winged cousins, the pterosaurs, crossed the skies with immense wings. In the oceans, huge marine reptiles like mosasaurs controlled the food chain. Biodiversity was vast and complex. Understanding how a single event could have brought down such a variety of life forms requires careful and in-depth investigation. The main evidence of the catastrophic collision comes from the discovery of a layer of iridium in geological sediments around the planet. Iridium is a rare metal in the Earth's crust, but common in asteroids, and its presence at high levels exactly at the transition between the Cretaceous and Paleogene suggests that something unusual occurred at that time. The Chicxulub crater, more than 150 kilometers in diameter, was identified in the Yucatan Peninsula and has an age compatible with the iridium layer, corroborating the impact hypothesis. The immediate consequences of the impact were apocalyptic. The energy released vaporized everything within a radius of hundreds of kilometers. An immense cloud of dust, soot, and debris was released into the atmosphere, covering the entire planet and blocking sunlight for a long period. This global night lasted, according to estimates, between months and more than a decade, preventing photosynthesis and, consequently, leading to the death of plants, phytoplankton, and other photosynthetic life forms. With the base of the food chain collapsing, herbivorous animals began to starve. Then the predators, deprived of their prey, also succumbed. Such an abrupt ecological turnaround generated a devastating domino effect, wiping out approximately 75% of all living species at the time. Non-avian dinosaurs, which reigned supreme, were one of the most affected groups, but not the only ones. Interestingly, some life forms managed to resist. Small mammals, primitive birds, and some types of fish, amphibians and insects managed to survive the dark years. One of the keys to this survival may have been body size. Smaller species needed less food and were able to hide in holes or live underground, where they were protected from sudden cold and widespread fires. Studies indicate that the global temperature dropped drastically after the impact. The dust and aerosols reflected sunlight, causing intense cooling known as impact winter. It is estimated that global temperatures have plummeted by up to 15 tindugs, seriously affecting tropical and subtropical ecosystems. Furthermore, acid rain caused by the release of sulfur oxides destroyed soils and fresh waters, further worsening the ecological crisis. The Earth became for some time a dark, cold, and hostile world. However, even in these extreme scenarios, life found ways to persist. Microorganisms that inhabited the ocean depths, where energy from hydrothermal vents kept the temperature stable, continued to thrive. It was from these small biological strongholds that life slowly began to rise again. After years of darkness, When the dust finally cleared and the sun once again illuminated the surface, dormant seeds began to germinate. It is now known that many plants have mechanisms to resist extreme conditions. Some seeds can survive for millennia in frozen or dry soil, waiting for the ideal moment to sprout. Thus, the first grasses, shrubs, and trees were reborn, and with them, the food chain began to rebuild itself. In this new world, mammals finally had space to evolve and diversify. During the age of dinosaurs, they lived in the shadows, small and nocturnal, to avoid predation. But now, freed from fierce competition with giant reptiles, they have begun to occupy new ecological niches. In a few tens of millions of years, they gave rise to primates and eventually to humans. There is no absolute consensus on how long the last non-avian dinosaurs survived after the impact. Some evidence suggests that small populations may have persisted for up to a few tens of thousands of years, isolated in specific regions, such as polar or mountainous areas. In places such as the San Juan Basin, remains have been found that have raised the hypothesis that certain dinosaurs may have lived for up to 300,000 years after the Chicxulub event. However, such statements are still the subject of intense scientific debate, as they may involve errors in dating methods or misinterpretations. Regardless of speculation, the fact is that dinosaurs disappeared as a dominant group. Those that survived are their direct descendants. Birds. Yes, all modern birds share a common ancestor with dinosaurs. In a way, dinosaurs still walk, fly, and sing among us, transformed and adapted to the new times. The impact that led to the end of the dinosaur era was a rare but not unique event in the planet's history. Other mass extinctions have occurred over the millennia, each with distinct causes and consequences. The one at the end of the Permian, for example, was even more devastating, eliminating around 90% of all marine species. This shows us that life on Earth is incredibly resilient, but also vulnerable to abrupt and violent changes. Today, scientists constantly monitor the sky for potentially dangerous asteroids. We know that events like Chicxulub are rare, but possible. Therefore, developing early warning systems and possible methods of diverting space objects are priority issues for planetary security. More than just a chapter in natural history, the extinction of the dinosaurs is a reminder of the fragility of our world. She teaches us that even the most powerful beings can disappear before the merciless force of nature. And at the same time, it shows that life has a remarkable ability to reinvent itself. In the dust left by giants, new life forms flourished. And in the distant echo of an extinct roar, we hear birdsong today.